Okay. As of now, we have dealt with something called dictionary. Okay. As of now, we have dealt with something called dictionary, and we have dealt with something called list. Now, what exactly happens in this? If you want to alter the data, yes, I can do that. True. I can change my data if I want to. For example, instead of for example, if I want to create something list data type. Okay, a list data type. How do you represent list in this fashion? Now if I want to change certain values or the elements in this particular list or the dictionary, I can do that. That means you can change the elements, you can alter, you can modify these data types. True. If you want to update this something with 10, I can do that. True. Which, for example, if I would like to uh, print this list, if I would like to print this list. Okay, give me 1 second. 1 second, give me 1 second. Now if I would like to modify this list, I can do that. True. Okay, how can I do that? I can just modify this list at any moment, and if I would like to update it something else, I can still do that. True. By there are certain methods where which can copy, add, you know anything I can do. Now what if I don't want to change the elements which are there in the data type, which used to be secured one. If I would like to maintain the data which is very secure, okay, this should not be altered at any moment. In that case, there is a data type called tuple. Okay, that data type is called tuple. So what is the data type that we are going to learn now? Something called tuple. Tuple is also a list, but it is immutable. That means you cannot change the elements which are there in the tuple. How do I represent tuple? Tuple can be represented like this. See, in list you use something called square brackets, right? But in tuple you use something called normal parenthesis. Okay, and if I would like to print this tuple, I can print it using tuple. Did you get it? Now if I run this, code, okay, I got the tuple. Tuple is also a collection of objects. Like it can it can have a multiple single value, a single data type. True. You can represent either with this, or else also you can represent something string values also. Tuple 2, which can store something called apple. Okay, apple and banana. Okay, and I can print it. Okay, and I can print it so that I can also have another. And if I run this code, you see I got two different tuples with the different data types. And if I can store something called boolean, yes, I can still do that. Now where we can use this? Can you tell me a few examples where we can use these tuples where the data should not be altered? Anywhere? Let's pass this for a few minutes and think of now where we can use these tuples. See, one of the best example is the Google Map locations. You see, you will see a Google Map location something like this. True. You will see uh, the points. Okay, where you use something like this, right? 1.27 some values, and you see the geographical location of that. True. You see some geographical location which it should not be altered. My location of my house should not be changed, right? As per the Google, like since the earth has its own fixed locations on which I have built my own house, and this should not be altered. True. In that case, we use something called these tuples. Did you get it? And when you develop certain code, and where you write your own code, and you want the other developers to not to alter the code which you have written. For example, you are collecting names, okay, where you are collecting some names, and you want not to change this list of these names. Some developer after your position or something else who came and who wants to change this, instead of banana, I would like to, banana is not there in our store, right? No, why did you he put it? But why did he put, the previous developer knows why did he keep this banana in the list. But the other developer should know, right, to know whether should I change this list or not. That's how they use tuples. Tuples are used not to modify. That is the reason tuples are called immutable data structure. Clear? Get it? And you also have another work for today. As I told you, list has its own data structure. List is a data structure which has its own methods. Similarly, dictionary and the tuple has its own methods. Like list. Okay. What you have to do, your work is to work on what all the tuple methods which you have. Clear? And since you know that there was something called how do you Google it? You just Google it and you just come to know. You'll get to know. Okay. Now what are the tuple methods? Some people usually talk it as something like pronounce it as tuple, or few people say is tuple. It's different way of, different people usually pronounce it in a different way. Okay. And if you see, you get all this. You got something called method count, which gives you something called returns the number of items of a specific value occurs in that tuple. Okay. For example, let's go and try it. Okay. Now let's comment this code. Okay. And I would like to repeat a number which is nothing but 5. And and if I would like to use count on this. Okay. What is this? We call this count. Where did I go wrong? Did I go anywhere wrong? Why is it showing an error? Okay, let's run this code. See? See, it shows me something called an error. What error? It shows me something called a type error that takes only one parameter. That means this should take certain parameter, right? I'm counting a particular value of it. Okay? Particular element, how many times it has been repeated. I would like to check the 5, right? How many times it has been repeated in this particular topic. And if you see, you did, you got 2 times 5. You see that the 5 is repeated 2 times. Clear? And when you execute, when you don't know what exactly happening, you run the code and you see what type of error that was going through. Okay, it says me that topple the count takes exactly one argument. Okay, you will get to know what is an argument and all in the basics too of Python. Okay, but as of now, you understand, like you just go through. Okay, but you have given something called zero. You have given zero, no, nothing, zero and nothing. So I want to check how many times it has been repeated. Now if you see one, and if I run this, one has been entered only once. And if you see how many times the 10 is repeated in this data type, see, one. Any doubts in this? So tuple is something which is an immutable.